Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Today we are diving into the March astrology report. And that means we've already gotten through another month in 2024. So it is moving quickly, exactly as I said it would. Now, I don't want to waste any time. I want to dive into these March transits. So grab a beverage of your choice, hopefully 4T4, my shameless plug there. But if you have a warm tea, grab that. You got some water. I've got some water right here. Grab that and get your pencil, your pen, your notebook, your calendar, whatever you're going to do to take down these notes, because there's a lot happening in March that we need to get into, okay? Now, the first half of this year, I will say, is heavier than the second half. Like, there's just a lot more pressure and a lot of more things that are being applied to us here in the first half of the year. We also have all of the planets direct until June. So just a lot of activity, a lot of things happening here. Now, March is going to bring us an eclipse. March is going to bring us our new year. March is going to bring us so much. So I want to dive all in. To start though, let's just go ahead and lay out where the planets are currently at the beginning of the month so that we get a good lay of the land. I'm not going to list all the planets, but the ones that are, prevalent in what we'll be talking about today. Let's go ahead and start with the sun, which will be in the sign of Pisces at the start of March. We also have Neptune in Pisces. We have Saturn in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces, lots of Pisces energy, right? We also have Mars in Aquarius and Venus in Aquarius. And at the start of the month, we still have this North Node and Chiron conjunction energy very much prevalent. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, what that entails specifically, please go back to the February astrology report where I dive all into that conjunction and the energies around it. So that's a little bit of a challenging energy in itself. And now we have all this Pisces energy and we are moving forward into March. So at the start of the month, we have the sun in Pisces, like I said. And Pisces season really drills down into our spiritual side or our spiritual nature of things. It's the ruler of the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind. So that programming, that hardware that is installed in us, that has us on autopilot, doing the things that we're doing, saying the things that we're saying, believing the things that we believe. All of that comes into focus. Our intuition is a really, really, really big thing during Pisces season. Our imagination or our creativity, our artistic side, and the expression of that is also a big thing. Our sensitivity, or nurturing and compassion are huge themes during Pisces season as well, not just for others, but also for ourselves. Our emotional boundaries, our escapism, or ways that we deceive ourselves, elude ourselves, the fear-based patterns and mindsets and addictions, all of that is Pisces, all of it's Pisces. Now, Pisces is the last zodiac sign, so it's said to encompass all the energies of everything before it. And it's just a soup of stuff. It is just a soup of stuff, and you can't even see what's in the soup. You're like, what is that? Is that a bone? Is that a piece of potato? What is it? Because you can't tell, right? Pisces is also that adaptable energy because it's mutable energy. So it is about being flexible and being able to adapt or flow, right? If we're going to take on the element of Pisces, which is water, to flow through changes, to allow yourself to flow. But to be too free-flowing is also to be in another place that is detrimental to you. So balance is required in everything. Now, Saturn, I said, is also in Pisces. And the reason why I bring up Saturn is because right at the beginning of March, on March 1st, we have a conjunction with Saturn and the sun, okay? And Saturn in Pisces, Saturn in general is more rigid in its thinking and its approach. It's about limitations, boundaries, responsibility, hard work, right? Big rewards, but hard work in order to get those rewards. You're going to work for it. And When it's in Pisces, it softens Saturn's nature. It's a little bit more flexible and just a little bit, less rigid. Now, the focus here is that discernment comes into play, boundaries come into play, major spiritual growth comes into play, emotional healing, your service, all of that is what Saturn in Pisces is bringing up. Now, with the Saturn and the Sun conjoining their energies together and blending everything up, sometimes to get to those things, it means going through obstacles or challenges to help you get there. Now, this conjunction at the start of the month can bring restrictions and limitations that just feel downright frustrating. You're just like, what the hell? I thought I was going to be able to do this. I thought I moved past this, whatever, and you're ready to flap those wings and fly, or at least stretch them, and you're like, I'm still in this box. What's going on? Or I'm in a box I wasn't even aware of. So there's a frustration that comes in here. But this is a time where we're asked to be paying attention to detail, because Pisces energy can be very dreamy in the clouds, very elusive. So details don't necessarily get, pulled into focus. So right now we're asked to pull, those details into focus and pay attention to that. Also, our patience and our consistency that needs a lot of work, and sometimes for some of us, is being called in at this time. We're gonna need patience. We're gonna need consistency to get through some of these challenges or obstacles that are coming our way. Also, we are being asked to create more supporting structures and foundations that are going to help us with long-term success. So this is a time to be in a more of an assessment phase of yourself so that you can build in a better way going forward. And the full moon in Virgo, which is also something that just happened in the end of February, was the start of that energy, okay? Now, self-limiting behaviors and your fears are also going to be front and center, because fears can be amplified through those obstacles, through those limitations, through some of the hard things that you're dealing with, or that can come in with this this energy. So also how we hold ourselves back. So our fears a lot of the times are contributing or driving factors, and then just our mental conditioning in certain areas. So all of that is definitely stuff that we're going to be facing right at the front of the month, right? Another thing on March 1st that is happening is Saturn is also conjuncting Mercury, all right? So they're blending their energies together in Pisces. And what this is doing, because Mercury is our communication, is our information, it's our mental processing, it's giving us insight into our foundations and structures, which is something I said that was under review with that other transit, right? And also helping us get those boundaries in place, helping us plan and make adjustments to the things that we have currently in process. This is all to help make things better. So if Saturn and the Sun say, hey, we need to focus on these areas, Mercury is saying, okay, I've got the ideas to help you execute X, Y, and Z. So it's supporting energy. Also on March 1st, we have the Sun and Mercury in the sign of Pisces, sextiling Jupiter in Taurus, all right? So this is an easy communication going on between these planets. And here, we get a little sprinkle of optimism. If we're getting frustrated over the things and feeling limited and our fears are getting amplified in certain ways, like Jupiter is coming in to sprinkle that optimism that says, yeah, but this is temporary and we can get through this and we're going to figure out a way around this. And if there's a box, we're going to figure out how to cut a hole so we can get out. Like, that's the energy that Jupiter is bringing to the table. So it's going to help us overcome some setbacks or anything that's standing in our way. And it's really going to help aid in our personal and our spiritual growth during this time. On March 3rd, we have Venus square Uranus, okay? And that square is tension, okay? There's a disruption happening here. Venus is in Aquarius and Uranus is in Taurus. So what we have here is Uranus bringing some type of rapid or unexpected change in terms of our relationships, our resources, maybe even our physical appearance, because Venus is very much tied to that in our aesthetic. Also, it's helping us feel more liberated because Uranus is the great liberator. So it's liberating us in the sense of wanting to have a more authentic expression of self. And maybe that's tied into the whole appearance, you know, or it could be tied into the relationship, or it could be tied into the resources piece. Honestly, it could cut any way. But this transit is one that can be challenging, but one that also can be very beneficial. So you just have to stay balanced as you're working with these energies. So on March 8th, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Now, this is a stimulation of your imagination or that artistic side of you, your expression of that. It's also aids your intuition or your downloads, those spiritual downloads, that information that comes from the highest form of yourself, from your spirit guides, from, you know, source energy. Also, it does bring in that confusion. It does highlight the fear, and it does lead you down the path of deception. So, like, just as you have the good side, you also have the other side that you just have to contend with. Balance, 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 all right? On March 8th as well, we have Mars square Uranus. Now, Mars is our little, I would say, fire starter. Mars is our definite fire starter and ultimate hype man too. And Uranus is our liberator. It is just like, let's break these shackles off. And Mars is like, okay, let me go find the tools so I can cut it off, right? So with this square, this tension, this disruption, with the two of these energies together, this spills liberation. Just liberation, like I'm breaking free, and I'm breaking free of my limitations from any form of oppression, especially in the form of like an authoritative, you know, like any type of authority coming in. It's just like, no, we're not gonna do this. So I will say with this, you gotta be careful of acting without thinking, because Mars can be very rash. It can move very quickly, and Uranus is really not about that. Like, it doesn't, I'm not about this crap, you know. You better check my references and ask about me. So you got to keep it under control. So I would say your actions need to definitely have a pause or a breather in front of them so that you can really think about what you're doing before you do it or before you say it. Just take that breath, that walk, that lunch break, that tea break, whatever you need to do before you carry out any action that can be very, very detrimental. All right. March 10th, we have the new moon in Pisces. And this is really a challenge to our emotional boundaries. And we're setting some intentions to create some more emotional boundaries, because we're not, I guess, not as strong as we need to be in that area. And I know not all of us are in that boat, but some of us are still in that boat, okay? Self-discipline is still a thing. It's still a thing, and it's always going to be a thing, I think. But self-discipline, creating intentions around that, getting better in that department. We also have this theme on our individuality still coming to the forefront, and embracing that and being courageous and being unapologetic about walking the narrow path instead of the wide path. So that is also something that's coming in. And we just have a very, very strong sense of intuition during this new moon. We also have our creative ideas and juices and everything flowing to us at this time. So we'll get all into that with a separate video, but that's just a little taste of new moon in Pisces, all right? So we'll be setting our little intentions around there. All right, on March 10th, we also have Mercury in Aries. Mercury's moving. It's on the move. And in Aries, Aries is a very fast moving energy, and our communication and our thoughts and our information just then speeds up with it moving into Aries. But it also helps us initiate those new ideas and be courageous about the different things that we want to communicate and we want to get out there. So it's great for that, for initiation and innovating, but it is one that can be impulsive. It also can be one that is, if you've suppressed things for a very long time that you've wanted to communicate, it can come out in a very harsh, rash, impulsive, angry way. So that's something that we have to watch for. We also, under this, are very honest, but honest to the point of bluntness or tactlessness. So there needs to be a real delicate balance when walking the line of communicating with Mercury in Aries. There are some benefits, but it can set things on fire for you really, really quickly if you're not careful, all right? Then on March 12th, we have Venus moving into Pisces. Venus is our relationships, it's our resources, it's our values, it's our aesthetic, it's just different things, right? With Venus in Pisces, this activates our compassionate side, our creativity side. So we take on more of this like dreamy, romantic nature or energy, especially our relationships come into focus. Our aesthetic just kind of gets more like we get into all of the things that make us feel good, you know, long bubble baths, like walks, just things that are sensual and just and feed us in that way. So I will say that this is a great self-love transit. We can get into the space of just focusing too much on the other person in relationships and wanting to pour there, but if you can balance that with pouring into yourself and making yourself feel luxurious and all of the things like that, then that's a nice little trade-off right there. Just don't be too far on one side or the other, but we're going to be wanting to pour into ourselves during this time for sure, and our artistic talents and creativity, whether that's decorating or painting or writing or doing poetry, whatever, all of that just gets, you know, expressed with Venus in Pisces. On March 17th, the Sun and Neptune are going to be conjunct in the sign of Pisces. So again, this is highlighting our intuition. Our intuition is going to get blown up. Our psychic gifts and abilities are going to get blown up. All our spiritual gifts just on 10. Spiritual gifts on 10, okay? All of that comes up during this time. Our sensitivity is also going to be really, really high. So again, when we talked about those emotional boundaries or just boundaries or protections in general, please do what you gotta do. I don't care if you're doing a smoke cleanse. I don't care if you're carrying certain crystals. I don't care if you're putting up an energetic wall around yourself in your mind. You've got to protect yourself and your energy and what you consume and what energy you're around during this time, because you will be really sensitive. Spirituality, your imagination, all of this is coming into focus. On March 19th, we have the North Node conjunct Mercury in Aries, okay? The North Node is our purpose, our life's purpose, the direction that we should be heading towards, or what we should be bringing more of into our lives. And again, a Mercury is our information, our communication. So what this highlights is a shift in communication style, a shift towards a more authentic communication style. So this is specifically around you feeling more empowered to communicate your ideas, especially things that you might have been shy or hesitant to communicate or share before because of how you would have been looked at, or it being such a different idea, just didn't have the confidence to bring that forth. And now you do, because you're walking and talking in your most authentic form. So that is a good thing. I see it as a good thing. So those ideas that you have been blocked from sharing in the past, you'll be feeling better about sharing them. It's really independent. And so it's not about, just saying or going along to get along because that's what everybody else expects or thinks or does. It's about just being your own person, and either they accept you for that or they don't accept you for that, but at the end of the day you're still good. So you're standing in that. You're standing in that. So your innovative ideas are taking you towards your future. So don't be afraid to share what you got going on in here, okay? Also, on March 19th, we have the sun moving into Aries, which marks the spring equinox and the start of our new year, our astrological new year, okay? So this is when us astrology folks, this is when we get busy. Us spiritual folks, we align ourselves to the seasons, to the right energy. And spring is when everything is anew. This is when everything is coming up, new leaves, new plants, you got baby animals running around this place. This is where your newness comes in. So fresh ideas, okay? New starts. This is the season of independence, but independence to lead us towards interdependence is what I like to say about it. We are really embracing the self during this season. So the energy picks up. It's great. We get to put all our plans into motion, everything that we've been working on, everything that we've been, talking about and refining behind the scenes, we get to press go on it. So that's exciting. But there is something that's happening in April that's going to slow us down a little bit. We'll talk about that later. On March 20th, Mercury will be conjunct Chiron in Aries, okay? So when we talk about Chiron, anytime Chiron energy comes into play, Chiron is just tough energy to deal with. It's just the thing that nobody wants to deal with. Your wounds, your deepest wounds, you don't want them at the forefront, you don't want them at the back front or the side front. You're just like, gosh, can you just disappear altogether? But we are human, and we're also just going to have these hard moments and hardships and different things that we're carrying because that's how we grow. We just can't come here and just have a full life of ease. That's just not going to happen in this human experience. So these deep wounds are teaching us things about ourselves, helping us heal, helping us step into our power, into our purpose. And with the wound being in Aries, it's usually around your identity. Who do you identify as, all right? So do you have the confidence to be yourself? Do you feel like you belong? Can you assert your independence? Those are all of the things with Chiron and Aries that, a lot of us have been struggling with in certain ways or another. So this is helping us move forward on those things. So processing, communicating, sharing our deepest struggles definitely helps us during this time because all of that is pushing us. It's pushing us towards our path forward. So actually, I'm kind of like looking forward to it, but I'm like, just take it easy because we got enough going on, right? Just take it easy, Chiron. Anyway, on March 21st, we have Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces. Lots of conjunctions. Oh my gosh, so many conjunctions this month. But here we are open and receptive to working with others and receiving support. Because a lot of us have an issue with receiving, okay? A lot of us are not in our full feminine energy that is receptive. We're in our masculine energy that wants to put out and not receive, or it's not like there's big imbalances there, right? So we got to get into the space. This Pisces season is going to help us do that, of our femininity, of receiving and being in that receptive space. So our vulnerability opens up, and it could be a good time for us working through things that need healing. So things that we just talked about, that identity stuff, anything that needs healing, our emotional healing, all of that. Healing is a big thing with this conjunction. Also, what comes into focus is trying to clean up our issues around discipline, the lack thereof of discipline, our escapism, and this could also bring hardships with money. Yeah, it could bring hardships with money, especially if you have not been doing things that you know you should be doing around that arena. And I'll leave it at that because we know when we know. All right, on March 22nd, we have Mars moving into Pisces, okay? So, Mars, what do we know about Mars? Mars likes to take action. It's the initiator. It wants to just go get them. I have a mission. Get out of my way. I don't have patience. I don't have time for this. We got to go. And Pisces is everything opposite of that. So Mars hates it there. It hates it there. It's like this energy is dreamy. It's flowing too much. I don't have any direction. I'm just literally lost in this dream cloud sauce. And it gets kind of frustrated there. But while we can't move in traditional Mars fashion when it's in Pisces, what we are moved by are our feelings or our emotions, which then also need some balance, because while that can be a good thing to a certain degree, if it's taken too far, it can also lead us in a destructive way. So you have to learn how to balance head and heart, or logic and emotion, because if not, those emotions will have you somewhere doing something, and you just will look back and be like, why did I do it? Why? Trust me, we've all been there. So that balance is gonna definitely be required with this particular transit. And yeah, your actions become dictated by your feelings. Also, using your intuition, because I was looking at my notes, to direct your actions is advantageous. So intuition led, not really emotion led, because we are not our emotions, okay? We don't want to get swept up in that. On the 25th of March, we also have the full moon in Libra. And this happens to be a lunar eclipse. So we're kicking off eclipse season, okay? Now, Libra is always tied to balance and relationships. So we're finding more balance in our relationships. Back in October of 2023, we had a solar eclipse in the sign of Libra, which kind of got the ball started on this energy that we're going to experience with this lunar eclipse. Now, with that transit, a lot of relationships ended. A lot of relationships transformed. There's just had a lot of heavy relationship energy around that time through the end of the year, and things just some things got swept out, some things got transformed or highlighted, and we're back to do some more work. So some more sweeping out is probably going to happen. It may not happen as abrupt or as it happened at the end of 2023, but if there's anything lingering, if it started the ball rolling on something that you're thinking about or something that needs to change, like if those things are not coming into alignment, like if your relationship is not meeting your emotional needs, your desires, if they're not aligning or deepening to a point where they align with who you are and becoming, not who you were, then they're going to get swept out or they have to transform. That's it. That's just really it. So our subconscious fears and our confusion about our feelings for certain relationships or around certain issues, certain things, that can also be a challenge during this full moon. So we'll talk all about this eclipse later, but I wanted to leave you with that. And lastly, on March 27th, we have a Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, and I know we don't mention her much here. I don't mention her unless it's really like something I really want to talk about, but she is in the sign of Virgo, and she represents our emotions, our independence. We don't want to be held down under her energy. No, we don't. And it's going to be opposite Venus, which is our relationships. So there's a fighting back against toxic relationships that inhibit you. So we're right on the heels of that eclipse that brings in the focus of those relationships that are just not cutting it. Lilith is going to support this energy even further. So it'll be interesting to see. But, the relationships are not being taken from you if they are leaving your life in that way. They're not being taken from you to punish you. And the ones that are supposed to stick, they will transform through this process. I will say that whatever version of you that you are now and that you are becoming requires support and requires the right people around you in order to continue to foster and help that most authentic, healthiest version of you thrive, right? That wraps our March astrology report. I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, please thumbs up, subscribe, share, do all the things. I hope you have a great March. I will definitely be seeing you in other videos, so don't think that I'm going anywhere, but please enjoy Pisces and Aries season for March and do all the things that you need to do to make all the things that you need to make happen, okay? I will see you all soon. Have a good one. Peace.